What does it mean to be engaged in today's workplace? How do we inspire, inform, and connect a working community? How do we build a culture of irreplaceability, trust, and listening to keep people on board and rowing together? Welcome to Post-COVID Leadership Advice. This series is all about building a workplace culture where people feel heard, supported, informed, and connected. This is a roadmap for leaders at any level, at any organization. Welcome to Post-COVID Leadership Advice. I am your host, Fiona Passantino. I am a culture, engagement, and communication specialist, and I love helping leaders and teams work better together, collaborate, and I love to watch professionals level up in general. So today we're going to be talking about reaching the factory floor. For a lot of multinationals, internal communication is divided between office workers and those on the factory floor. And office workers, they're very easy to reach. You can send emails, intranet, there are apps. There are very easy ways of reaching people. However, when you talk to people who are doing the hardest jobs and working one-on-one with the customer, very often this group is spoken to in a very different way, not enough, or not at all. So there are a couple of weapons at our disposal to inform, engage, and connect with this group. And part of that is understanding who these people are and what they want. And I like to call this our schizophrenic internal communication, because we're kind of doing two things with one brain, and maybe not all of them in the same way effectively. So who are these deskless workers, people who actually use their hands and their bodies to do their jobs? They're about 80% of the total global workforce. So most of us are doing these kinds of jobs. They work in factories, they work in shops, they work in greenhouses, they drive delivery vans, they keep supply chains humming and running. They are in direct contact with the customers. They handle the products every day. They have a deep understanding of operations and the people that they're dealing with. But only about 25% of these workers would call themselves engaged. That's about 8 points lower than the average desk worker. And 3/4, so 74%, feel they are missing out on company news. And for these large multinationals, internal communication is still very much split between the office workers and those who are doing the jobs out on the field. And you think of the ones in their offices, the desk-bound, let's say, they bathe in a running stream of constant emails, texts, newsletters, town halls, webcasts, webinars, social streams, social live functions, whereas factory workers have to contend with some outdated, inadequate printed material or inconvenient digital mailers. They don't always have the chance to jump behind a computer and download the latest newsletter. And they often don't have time to actually sit down and read. They are using their hands, they're using their eyes to do their jobs. They can't just sit down and take 5 minutes and read an email. Oftentimes they don't even have any computers in their offices at all. They might all, however, have a cell phone, but you don't often use your smartphone to read newsletters. It's a bit unhandy. So it's very easy for CEOs in general to speak to the office worker because they mainline their own strategic documents straight into the stream. They don't need to translate it or make it simpler. They can use all the company jargon that they like, charts and graphs, charts and graphs. But when it comes to this factory floor, 82% of high-level managers find it very difficult to communicate. And so what usually winds up happening is factory comms are basically an unhandy, unwieldy mix of overly simplistic, condescending text mixed with very, very complex, abstract information that actually is not very relevant to their job, and it doesn't inform nor inspire when you're operating heavy machinery. The wall posters are usually short on detail. They are very quickly obsolete. And then digital newsletters just go ahead and get ignored because nobody has time to just stop what they're doing, find the computer, download it, read it, and go back to their jobs. That's simply not how it works. So this is the challenge. And the first thing that you would tell any communication professional is get a clear glimpse of who your target is. Who are you talking to? Every organization has a different profile for this type of worker, but here are a few averages, and this is based on the US market. So, who are we dealing with? Well, around 70% are male. Women are half the workforce in general, about 47.5%, and they are underrepresented in manufacturing jobs. So these are heavier jobs. This is not the same kind of statistic for people out delivering, for instance, or performing nursing work or this sort of thing, or other kinds of direct client contact. But in heavy manufacturing and factory, this is what we're talking about. About 71% did not get a higher degree, did not finish university, didn't finish college. About 97% do have a smartphone. So while they don't have access to the computer during the day, just about everyone has a phone. And that is a key indicator here. This is where we want to start. Factory workers are extremely busy. They work very long shifts, often 10 hours a day, sometimes in strange times of day. Sometimes they do night work, and they just don't have time to sit down. So one of the things that I always like to suggest is there's a secret weapon here, and that is the internal podcast. So why podcasting? Well, it's something that is growing steadily year by year. In 2020, about 100 million people per month were listening to a podcast. And by 2022, this grew to 125 million. And it is growing by 16% a year, just about. And it's already now reaching about half the US population for news and stories and opinions. And podcasts are a wonderful way of reaching people. First of all, they are intensely what I call H2H, human to human. It is the voice that is intimate, it is engaging, it captures our attention longer than if we read text. And we remember information, some of us 81% more, remember auditory information over text-based. And they're also very convenient. So people can tune in at any time. They can combine it with repetitive tasks like driving a delivery van or loading and unloading or cleaning or line work. Your hands are free, your eyeballs are free, there's no screen to watch or read. So you can technically listen to a podcast anytime. And they are also very authentic. So anyone who has heard people being interviewed on a podcast or speak freely on a podcast understands that this is a medium that is instantly real. You tend to say what you think when you are just being recorded rather than with a camera in your face for a video or one of these short reels. Audio is that one half step back that allows people to relax a little bit and really say what is relevant and what's on their mind. So a CEO, a top level manager, a unit manager can very easily create one of these a week. About 15 minutes a week is long enough to bring everybody up to speed in a way that makes people feel that they are speaking one-on-one, me to you, human to human. You can do a very quick roundup of all the news, everything fit for print, or not print, and then a few special feature stories for balance. This is a wonderful way of putting people in the spotlight who've done exceptional work and just giving everybody a chance to breathe in the fumes of what's going on in the office. And this is an idea that's really catching on. So PwC, Shopify, American Airlines, these are all examples of large international companies embracing this professional podcast for internal communication. And it's a wonderful way to onboard. Imagine your first day on the job, you get a nice little set of branded earbuds and your company phone, so you can always plug in and never miss another episode. So that's what I have for you for today, our secret weapon on how to reach the factory floor. Thank you for being a part of this episode. Subscribe, follow, so you never have to miss another one. These ideas are based on the Comic Books for Executive series. Go to postcovid